Welcome back to the channel, and this is going to be a continuation of creating this part. Now, so far we've created this using AutoCAD 2D. This is going to be the 3D one. Now, I'm expecting this video to be a lot faster. The 2D one is about 40 minutes long. This one I'm hoping to be around, 30 minutes, if not less than that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so continuing from here, let's go ahead and open a new drawing. And then we're going to go ahead and set up all the normal stuff that we do. We're going to turn the grid off. And we're going to take a look at our running O-snaps. So these are going to be the ones that I'm going to use. And I also like to turn my ortho on. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and switch over to 3D AutoCAD. We're going to do that by selecting the settings icon here and then switching to the 3D modeling. And we're going to give it a couple of minutes for this to load up, and this is a good time or opportunity to say that if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you do like the commentation or the content that I'm creating, please go ahead and consider subscribing to this channel and and supporting me and watching these videos to the end. Believe it or not, it really do helps. Okay, now that our ribbon has changed over, we can start off by creating the shapes that we normally do, right? So just like we did in the 2D video, this is going to be more or less a continuation of that. We're going to start with the circle center diameter. I'll go ahead and place it here. And we're going to start off with our big circle that's sitting at 150. Let's go ahead and zoom the extent so we can see it. All right, let's see. Somehow my little icon here is not working. Let's see. I'll just double click the middle mouse wheel. Let's go back to circle center diameter and go ahead and place the other circles on here. So I'm going to create a circle here. This is going to be at 100. And then I have one more that I have to create that has a diameter of 120. Okay, we have all three of those circles. Let's zoom out a little bit and let's start working on this part here. Now, in the 2D video, you saw me create this by copying these. This one, I'm going to create it a different way. So I'll go to circle center diameter. I'm going to go find the center here, touch it, then I'll track off of it. So once I get the green tracking line, I'll type in 150, and then I'll type in the diameter, which is going to be 80. Okay, let's go ahead and make another circle center diameter right here. And this one will have a diameter of 50. All right. Next thing I can do is go ahead and put the fillets on here. So I'm just going to use the fillet command. So F, enter. I'm going to change the radius. So go to radius, 100. And then we have more than one. So select multiple. And then select where you want to put those fillets at. I'll do one here on the top and one on the bottom. All right, let's zoom out. Let's use the mirror command. I'm just going to type in MI, and I'm going to just type in these commands, and that'll make things a lot quicker for us. I'm going to select these objects here. Go ahead and hit enter. Let's go from that quadrant up to this quadrant and hit enter. And then we're going to trim off this portion here. So just TR, enter, and then just trim off these portions. Okay. Now, this would be correct if I was doing this in 2D, but remember that we're creating this in 3D, so I need a couple of different shapes here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select these shapes here, and I'm going to take them to the bottom so I can create the other shape that is going to be necessary to create this as a 3D. All right, so I'm just going to take these components here. I'm going to go ahead and copy them, and I can use the move command on here if I wanted to, but for now, I'm just going to copy these. Let's go ahead and use the trim command again. And we're going to trim off these portions here. All right. Then I'm going to join this together. So we're going to highlight it all. Hit J, enter. So now it's all joined together. That is created. And now we have these two circles here. And then we have these circles here and these circles here. All right. So now we have everything that we're going to need to create this 3D shape. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this in an isometric view by selecting the corner of my view cube here. Let's go ahead and spin it around one more location just so we have it in the correct orientation. Now this is our one shape that we need. let's go ahead and take a look at the extrude. Select this shape, hit enter. I'm going to send it down a height of 20. Alright, so now we have that shape created. Let's go back to the extrude command. And I'm going to select these two shapes here. And I have to decide, where am I going to place these? Am I going to extrude these, and when I place them on this shape, do I want them at the top or at the bottom? If I want them at the top, I'll have to do the math of 40 minus the 20. If I put them at the bottom, I can do the direct height of 40. But since we have a circle in the middle of this, it's going to be really beneficial that we put it at the bottom, right? So I'm going to extrude this. I have the object selected. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm just going to send it up a height of 40. And the reason that I'm doing that is just so I can be able to subtract the center circle out. All right. So I'm just going to use the move command next. So I'm going to move these two cylinders as well as these two cylinders. And I can go from, let's choose this center here. And then I'm going to place it at this bottom center here. Remember that you're going to have two centers that show up. So if I just kind of run my cursor across both of them, make sure you select the bottom center. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of union some things together, and then we'll subtract. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and union. And I'm going to select this base part here and just these two big outside cylinders. So that cylinder there and then this cylinder here. Go ahead and hit enter. And now you can see that those are all together. Then I'll come back with the subtract command. I'm going to select the object I want to keep first, hit enter, and then I'm going to select the object I want to subtract from it or remove. I'm going to select both of those two cylinders, and then I'll hit enter. Now nothing changed on the drawing, but we know that it did cut a hole going through this, because if I switch over to shades of gray, you will see that there is a hole going through these. Alright, let's go back to wireframe. Alright, and let's deal with the last circles here. So I'm going to go back to the extrude command. I'll go ahead and select these two circles here, hit enter, and I'm just going to send this up a height of 70. Alright, we're going to use the move command again. So I'll go to move. I'm going to select both of these cylinders, go ahead and hit enter, find the center that's at the bottom here, and then place that center right at the bottom of that center. Okay. Next, we're going to do exactly what we did here in the other one. I'm going to go to union first. So I'll go to union. I'll select this shape here and this outside cylinder here. Go ahead and hit enter. And then we're going to go to the subtract command. So I'll go to subtract, select the object I want to keep, which is here, hit enter. And then the object that I want to remove or subtract, I'll select here and hit enter. All right, let's go ahead and switch back to the top view. I'm going to erase this stuff at the bottom here. And then we're going to take a look back at the isometric of it. Let's take a look at it in shades of gray. And we should be actually done with the 3D portion of this, right? So that's all we have on that part. Let's go ahead and start working. And I'm just zooming in right now just so you can see that it does show over right through that. So that's something that we had to check when we was doing the 2D AutoCAD. So go back and watch that video when I created the isometric, and that's one of the checks that we always have to do. You can take a look inside of here and you see that it does not show through. All right. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is go ahead and start doing the 2D drafting on this, right? So I'm going to switch over to the layout one. Give it a second here. Seems like, oh, maybe I'm still in the command. Now I'll switch over to layout one. Let's go ahead and delete this viewport. And then I'm going to create a rectangle, right? Which is going to represent my title block. So I'll just type in REC, hit enter, 0, 0, enter, and 17, 11, enter. All right. Zoom out. Go to offset, 0.25. And I'm just going to offset this to the inside. All right, the next thing, let's go ahead and scale up our paper here to match our true title block here. So I'm just going to do a right click on layout one, go to page setup manager, go to modify, We start off with the normal stuff, so DWG to PDF. ANSI full bleed, 17 by 11. Extents, center plot, and leave it set to 1 to 1. Let's go ahead and change our plot style just to monochrome, just so everything will print black if we do want to print this. Go ahead and hit OK, and then close. Alright, so now we're ready to bring in our view. So I'm going to select base here. If you don't have this icon here, it's also underneath the layout tab. And then you should have base, which is located here. So I'll go to base from model space. Remember that it's going to bring in my front view, right? But in our case, we want to bring in the top view. So I'm going to go ahead and change that here when it loads up. So I'm giving it a couple of seconds here. All right. And it should be any second now. There it is. All right. So here's the view that I have. I'm just going to come up here and go find the word top. And there's my view. We can make this a little bit bigger, so it just depends on how you want to scale this up and down on the scale. Remember that as I go down on this scale, it's going to get bigger, and I'm using the English or imperial units. So I'm at 3/16 right now. Maybe if I want to go to 1/4 of an inch, that's what I have here. So I'll select here and go ahead and hit OK. Okay, once you selected that, go ahead and hit the escape button. Oh, I meant to hit enter. Sorry, I'll do that again. So let's go to base from model space. It should be a lot quicker this time. Just going to go up here to the top, find top. Go ahead and adjust it. I think we had it at 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to do a left click here, and then I'll hit enter. And one more enter. Okay, so there's my shape that I have created. All right, now if I want to do the isometric, I can use that same method that I just did. I can go to base from model space. Then I can start looking at different isometrics. So I think it's always the northeast or northwest. In this case, it's going to be northeast isometric. There we go. And I'm just going to place that here at the top. Go ahead and hit the enter button, and it's going to, and one more enter, and then I have my shape. We'll come back and clean this up here a little bit later. I just wanted to put it there. Next, let's go ahead and put our section view, which is running right through our part. So I'll go to section. I'm going to select this view. I'm going to go and touch this quadrant, and then I'm just going to track off it so much. Do a left click here. Come straight across to here. And then once I do that left click there, go ahead and hit enter just to tell AutoCAD that you're done with the section, right? And then I'm just going to come down this way and place my view. Go ahead and hit enter there, and it should automatically put our hatches through that, and it should automatically label it for us, right? So once again, when we did the 2D portion of this, we had to do all of this work here. All right, let's go ahead and put our center marks. Now you'll notice that I'm not creating layers and stuff of that nature. I've shown you how to do that in the 2D drawing or the 2D video. This one is going to concentrate more on the 3D stuff, but the layers, it's going to be the exact same process. All right, so underneath the annotation, let's go to center marks. And I'm just going to place them on these circles here. Okay. I'll do my center lines. And remember, I'll select this line here, and then this one. I'm just going to hit the enter button. This one here, and this one. One more enter. Here and here. Okay, so remember that you're not seeing these center marks here, so go ahead and select both of them. Do a right click on them, go to properties. It should open up your properties window, and then you're looking for line type scale. Let's try with 0.75 first and see what we get. And we do get our slash going between there, so that's good enough for me. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and adjust my sections here. You can see that I have a line going all the way through here. So I'm going to go ahead and modify this. The way that we do that is I'm going to switch back to the layout tab, and you can see this icon here with the section. Go ahead and select that icon here, and then we're going to give it a few seconds. It should load this up. We're going to go to modify. And I do like the way this dialog box do appear. It does give us some great things. I'm going to click on the cutting line, or the cutting plane one here, and then it's asking me, do I want to show that whole entire cutting line to go through? In my case, No, we don't want to show, well, we want to show the cutting line. We don't want to show, let's see, it's one of these options in here. Yeah, we want to show the bends, but we don't want to show the cutting lines. There we go. So that's the option that I would select. And once I go to OK and hit close, it should automatically look like our drawing did in AutoCAD, right? Okay, let's deal with our isometric here. So I'm just going to select this one. Go to the edit view. I will go ahead and adjust this to just regular hidden lines. And let's make this a little bit bigger, maybe a 3/16. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, hit OK. And I'm just going to move this down a little bit. All right. And then the last thing I need to do is just put a bunch of dimensions on this, right? So remember, DDI, that's for my diameter dimensions, and I'm just going to go through and put all of these on here. Now, I'll go back and I'll adjust my scales and things of that nature here in a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all of these on. Then the correct way of doing this, obviously, is to always set up your dimension style before you actually put the dimensions on, but kind of doing things a little bit backwards today. I think I'm going to put the radius here at the bottom. So DRA, I'll go ahead and select it here. And then I'll put my linear dimension, so DLI, go from that endpoint to here. DCO, hit enter, and then go and place it here. Let's go ahead and put our dimensions here at the bottom. So DLI, go from that endpoint going up. And I'm assuming that this is going to drop down whenever I fix this here in a second. So I know my dimensions are a little screwy. And I will admit to you that, yeah, I'm kind of doing this a little bit backwards. But this is one of the neat things about AutoCAD, especially with dimension styles. It will adjust them to what you need. So once again, here's another DLI from this midpoint to this one. And then select here. And let's move this to the bottom. Okay. And we're going to move this one back to here. Okay. Let's go ahead and adjust our dimension style. So remember, we do that. We're just going D-enter. Should bring open this dialog box. Let's go to modify. Start all the way to the right. So underneath my primary units, I will select that tab there. I'm going to suppress the trailing zeros by selecting that icon here. Underneath the fit, we're in paper space, so 1 is fine on this one. Underneath the text, let's make it 0.125. And then finally with the symbols and arrows, let's change this to none. Go ahead and hit OK and close. Right? So everything should adjust and fix itself really neatly. Okay, I just have a little bit more cleanup to do here, and we're actually going to be done with this one a lot earlier than my predicted time. All right. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. Okay. The last thing I need to do is go ahead and, add some text to some of this. So I'll do that really quick here. Go to ED, select here. I'm just going to put 2 places behind it. Likewise, on my 80 dimension, it's in 2 places. Okay. And then lastly, I do have this one at 100, which is at 4 places. And let's type in our 4 places. Okay. Now, some of these landings do look a little long to you, and I know they look a little long to me as well. And what I mean by that is that this line here. So if I select one of these dimensions, and then if I click on the grip that has the number on it, which means I just basically kind of move it around, you will see that these will adjust. So that's going to be one of the downsides to doing this later. All right. So you would have to go back and kind of manually adjust these back in order to get them all at the correct lengths. But for this drawing, this is actually, more than what we need to see. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and the major takeaway of this is basically doing the 3D modeling. The 2D portion is, 2D just like in regular AutoCAD that we do, but learning to do any kind of 3D modeling would be really beneficial to you, and you also see that it is helpful when we get to doing Inventor as well. Kind of the same concepts, right? But a little bit differently. But all right, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and keep coming back and watching these videos. And for those who you are leaving me comments, I really do appreciate it. And until the next video, once again, thank you for watching.